So Darwin publishes this treatise on barnacles, and he backs it up with another treatise on earthworms. He really loved earthworms, and he wrote about how they had personalities, and he had favorite earthworms and such. But then he finally gets around to origin of species. And that probably would have been delayed even further, but there was some competition by this time on his heels, and he was feeling the heat, and so he kind of rushed that into publication in 1859. This is, a year before that, Hadrosaurus folkii is discovered about 10 miles from here in Haddonfield, New Jersey, the world's first nearly complete dinosaur skeleton. And so all these things are happening all at once, like this great awakening that is occurring. And obviously, the story from the origin of species and how that transformed, humanity's view of itself. But when Charles Lyell, who wrote the Principles of Geology, which were so profoundly impactful on Charles Darwin, when Lyell died, they asked Darwin to eulogize him. And Darwin got up and said, "I never forget that everything I have accomplished in science I owe to the study of his great works." And it reminds me of when the founding savant of jazz, Louis Armstrong, died. They asked Miles Davis to eulogize him. And Miles Davis, in his iconoclastic fashion, he gets up to the microphone and he says, "No him, no me." And he sits down. But that's basically what Darwin said about Charles Lyell. He basically said, "No him, no me." And so why did he put such importance on that? It's because evolution doesn't make sense in a 6,000-year-old Earth, right? Evolution would be a truly impotent and feeble force if there was only 6,000 years with which to work. It really couldn't get anything done at all, right? So the magic of the geological record is really deep time. And what I always tell my students is the improbable becomes the probable over geological time, right? What's the chance of you winning the Powerball lottery? I don't know what it is, but let's say it's 1,000,000 to 1. Well, those aren't very good odds, right? Lotteries are basically a tax on people who can't do math, right? But what if you played the lottery 1,000,000 times? Now, what is your chance of winning the lottery? 1, right? What if you played the lottery 10 trillion times? Well, now actually you're going to win the lottery a whole lot, right? So the improbable becomes the probable with numbers of occurrences, right? Or in geology with time. And so even though, a single sunbeam causing a single mutation might be a rare event, and that mutation might not, probably almost certainly doesn't have any impact on the future, it just may, right? And if you do that experiment long enough and you have enough time with which to work, those super, super improbable events start to stack up to change history. They start to stack up to create the world that we understand today.